The fallout from the Brereton inquiry into alleged war crimes by Australian soldiers in Afghanistan continues. Now the Chief of the Defence Force is being told he should resign by some crossbenchers. Bob Catter is one of those and he joins me now here in the studio. This is a pretty big call for Major General Angus Campbell to resign. Why should he go?
No, I don't want him to resign. I want him sacked. He spat upon his own troops. I mean, the first thing, if something's gone wrong, and if I'm the boss, it's my fault, not the fault of the team. I want the Colonel Blimps removed. I mean, clearly, this is a rogue nation that is running out of control. I'm talking about China. Clearly, that is the case. They've called for cutting off people buying Chinese imports. No, we want to be friends with the Chinese people, right? But we're not stupid enough to ignore the danger. We did that 230 years ago in this country, and we paid a terrible price, we first Australians. But if the Colonel Blimps were removed, Tom, in 1914, maybe my great-great-uncle would not have died at Gallipoli. If the Colonel Blimps had been removed in 1939, maybe my great-uncle would not have died soon after release from Shanghai prison, because it was people like this that, in my opinion, had a very great deal to do with what happened at Gallipoli and what happened at Singapore.
Just trying to stick to this Brereton inquiry, though, this report was exhaustive. It went for years. It didn't point the finger at top brass for something they did or knew about. Why is the boss, in this sense, as you say, always responsible? What specifically? I mean, are you saying that the Major General Angus Campbell knew something, or simply that he should have known?
No, this bloke, he said that women should be in the front line because he wanted smarter troops. The implication then that all his soldiers are dumb, right? He then said they're not to use the word kill. Well, I was an instructor off and on for 8 years in the army. What are you going to tell the blokes at bayonet practice or on the range that we're not there to kill? Well, of course you're there to kill. They're being trained for warfare. He has indicted all of our frontline combat troops by this inquiry and his remarks.
Well, he's been careful to, in fact, say that there are many highly decorated, and the vast majority of soldiers, including special forces, have served Australia with great honour and distinction, but that the others that haven't, obviously, we need to get to the bottom of it.
Tom, each of the questions you're asking are good calls, and this one is a good call, right? He removed the unit citation.
Well, he didn't remove the unit citation. Well, he said he would adopt the Brereton inquiry report. He said that was his intention. There was feedback post that, and now that is not necessarily going to happen.
Undoubtedly, even the most cursory reading of the media indicated that if he wasn't going to remove it, he most certainly was considering removing that. So he spat upon all of his troops. I mean, you just don't do that. Look, where we should be going here is, instead of him picking fights with his own troops and indicting them, he should be fighting with the government to give us a proper...
Just pause for me, Bob, and excuse me, I know this is unusual. I believe your microphone's fallen down here. Let me just try to get it. Apologies to our viewers. This is the nature of... Let me just pop it on for you, Bob, and we'll keep going as we are. This is unusual, but there we go. I'll just put your scarf there.
Tom, it's a good question that you ask, right? We should not be fighting with Chinese people. That's not what this is about, right?
Well, I'll get to China in a moment.
We should realise that there's a grave danger here, and we should defend our country. He should be fighting with the Australian government to get a primage charge on all imports coming into this country of 10%, and to use some of that money to build 300 patrol boats.
You're saying it's the Chief of Defence Forces...
Defensive weaponry, not offensive
You're
weaponry.
saying it's up to the Chief of the Defence Force to get some sort of charge for any goods China sells to Australia, some sort of tariff, and then use that money to build up the defence. I mean, that's just not his job.
I have instructed every politician that I've ever been working with. Obviously, I had a very prominent position in the old country National Party in Queensland.
We've got to jump in, sorry.
Told them.
Scott Morrison has begun his news conference. We'll go there live.